Dear students, welcome to the second part of Module 2. We were in the topic lazy learning. In lazy learning mechanism, data is stored in memory and whenever a need arises, then only the generalization is happened and evaluation is handled. That is why it is termed as lazy learning. KNN is an algorithm, K nearest neighbors algorithm, which follows this lazy learning mechanism. In KNN, we have to fix a value for the variable K. That means K is a variable which considers the number of nearest neighbors should be treated, or it should be considered. We are having a training data set, and whenever a new input value arrives, we have to find out the K number of nearest neighbors from the training data set for the new input data point. Based on the classification of data from the K nearest neighbors from the training data set, we have to choose the category of input data. So in this lazy learning, K is having an importance. So here in this lecture we are going to discuss about the importance of K, choosing an appropriate K. The decision of how many neighbors to use for KNN determines how well the model will generalize to future data. So K is having a relevance in K nearest neighbors algorithm. For that particular case, we have to see the term bias variance trade-off. Bias variance trade-off means it is a balancing between overfitting and underfitting the training data. It is termed as bias variance trade-off. We know that overfitting means the machine learning algorithm is trying to capture the noise data. Noise data means some irregularities in the data. If data is having high irregularity, or if data is having some irregularities, that type of data can be modeled in the case of overfitting. In the case of overfitting, the data is having high variance, whereas it is having low bias. Then underfitting is just opposite as that of overfitting. In underfitting, it refers to a model that can neither model the training data or nor generalize to new data. That is, this type of underfitting is a situation in which the model is not able to use the correct data or good data, and even the model is not able to perform the generalization of the data. In underfitting, it is having low variance and high bias. The KNN has low bias and high variance, but the trade-off can be changed by increasing the value of K, which increases the number of neighbors that contribute to the prediction and in turn increases the bias of the model. So in this bias variance trade-off, it means the balancing between overfitting and underfitting of the data. If you are having a small value for K, the K model should be able to fit, or model should be in the situation of overfitting. If we are getting a high value for K, it will go for, sometimes it may be go for underfitting. Now we will see what are the meaning of terms bias and variance. Bias means it is giving some partiality to the model. Bias is the difference between average prediction of our model and correct value which we are trying to predict. So it is the difference between the average prediction rate of our model and the correct value. Model with high bias pays very little attention to the training data and oversimplifies the model, and it always leads to high error on training and test data. Then variance. Variance means it is the variability of model prediction for a given data point or a value which tells us the spread of our data. So variance is considered as a measure of dispersion which gives the idea about the spread of the data. Model with high variance pays a lot of attention to training data and does not generalize on the data. So if a model is having high variance means the data spread is large, so it is not able to predict accurately for the test data. As a result, such models perform very well on training data and high error rates on test data. So bias means it's the difference between average prediction of our model and the actual correct value. Variance means the variability of model prediction for a given data point. So if machine learning model can be termed as a good model if the model is having low bias and low variance, then only the model should be treated as a good model. Low bias and low variance is our strategy. Then what will be happen if we are choosing a large K and if we are choosing a small K? So choosing a large K, it reduces the impact or variance caused by noisy data. Then very large K as large as the total number of observations in the training data, and the model would consequently always predict the majority class regardless of the nearest neighbors. So large K means it reduces the variance caused by noise data. Then if the K is very large means if the K value should be same as that of the number of examples in the training data, such type of model should not be able to predict correctly because uh, this model is having a tendency to predict the majority class. Majority class means if our training data is having um, maximum number of examples with a positive class and minimum number of examples with negative class, if we are choosing a very large K, our model will try to predict the positive class because we are having large number of examples which belongs to positive class. Then using a single nearest neighbor, if you are using one NN, allows the noisy data or outliers to influence the classification of examples. So if you are using one NN, the idea is that uh, sometimes this one NN will allow some noise data or outliers to make our prediction. So that is not a good thing for one NN. The best K value is somewhere between the two extremes. So if you're choosing a value for K, the best thing is we have to choose an appropriate K which is not small as well as it is not large. Now in this particular, look at this particular graph here, we can see the influence of larger K and smaller K. If we are making a larger K, we will get a smooth decision boundary like this. If you are taking a small K, the curve or the decision boundary should be like this. Large K produces a smooth curve and majority class may be as the output. Small K means it produces a different curve. So in order to choose an appropriate K, the best common practice is we have to choose K as the square root of number of training examples. So in our previous example we seen in the last video, we are having a food classifier. In the food classifier we developed previously, we might set K is equal to 4 because there were 15 example ingredients in the training data. So square root of 15 which will be equal to 3.87. So 3.87 which will be approximately equal to 4. So the best common practice is if we have to choose a value for K which will be equal to the square root of number of training examples, so that the K will not be so small compared to the training data, and it should not be very large compared to the training data. Then preparing data for use with KNN. Features are typically transformed to a standard range before applying the KNN algorithm. So we have to convert all the features to a standard range before we are using this KNN algorithm. Distance formula is highly dependent on how features are measured. We are using the Euler's distance formula to calculate the distance measurement. So it is highly dependent on how the features are represented. If certain features have a much larger range of values than the others, the distance measurements will be strongly dominated by the features with larger ranges. So while we are using KNN algorithm, first features are transformed into a standard range of values. Distance formula is dependent on how these particular features are measured. If some features are having large range of values, distance measurement is strongly dominated by the features with this particular larger value. So we need a solution to rescale the features by shrinking or expanding their range such that each one contributes relatively equal to the distance formula. So if the features are not in equal scale, convert them to a same measuring scale either by shrinking the data or either by expanding the values. If we add one more feature to the data set, that also should be in the same range of values. For example, if sweetness and crunchiness are both measured on a scale from 1 to 10, we would also like spiciness to be measured on a scale from 1 to 10. In our previous example of food taste, we specify two features. We are having four columns in that particular data set: ingredient, sweetness, crunchiness, food type. In ingredient is a string value like apple, orange, mango, like that. But the sweetness and crunchiness are measured, or it is having a numerical data, and this numerical data is represented in a range from 1 to in a range of 1 to 10. So if you are adding one more feature to that particular data set like spiciness, that spiciness should be also measured in the scale 1 to 10. Then only the corresponding evaluation should be correctly happen. For converting or rescaling the different features, we are having some methods. There are several methods for scaling: min-max normalization, z-score standardization, and dummy coding. So three methods are used for standardizing the values of features. First one is min-max normalization. It's a traditional method of rescaling features for KNN. This process transforms a feature such that all of its values fall in a range between 0 and 1. So min-max normalization should be happened uh, in such a way that after doing this min-max normalization, all the values in a particular column will be transformed to a value between 0 and 1. Now we see how we can do this min-max normalization. The new value can be calculated or can be found out using the equation x minus minimum of x divided by maximum of x minus minimum of x. So what should be the x value? X value, we have from the x value we have to subtract the minimum of x value, and it should be divided by the range of the x. So using this equation we get new x values, and this new x value is between 0 and 1. The next method is z-score. Z-score, here the new value can be calculated using the equation x minus mu divided by sigma, that is x minus mean of x divided by standard deviation of x, and the resulting value is called the z-score. Z-scores fall in an unbound range of negative and positive numbers. So the z-score are in a range between negative and positive numbers, and they have no predefined minimum and maximum. This particular z-score is not having any predefined minimum and maximum value. So this is same as our standard normal form x minus mu divided by sigma. The next is dummy coding. We know that Euclidean distance is a particular numerical data. So Euclidean distance formula is not defined for nominal data. Therefore, to calculate the distance between nominal features, we need to convert them into a numeric format. So if you are having some nominal data or categorical data with us, it is very difficult to calculate the OLS distance, because OLS distance can be calculated using numerical data. So what we have to do is we have to convert this nominal features to numeric format. A typical solution utilizes dummy coding where a value of one category and 0 the other category. For instance, dummy coding for a gender variable should be constructed as male is equal to 1 if x is equal to male and 0 otherwise. So what we have to do is, in case of categorical data, we have to convert this categorical data to some numerical value. Here we are having example in the case of gender variable. Gender variable can take the values male and female. In order to convert this categorical terms male and female to a numerical data, we can define like this: male is equal to 1 if x is equal to male, equal to 0 otherwise. If the corresponding gender value is male, it should be considered as value 1. If other than male is happened, that is female is occurred, we assign the value 0. Likewise, we can convert this categorical data to numerical data. Dummy coding of two category gender variable results in a single new feature named male. So here we are considering only male format, because gender is a binary variable which can take two values male and female. If the data is male, it should represent it as 1. If the data is female, it should be represented as 0. There is no need to construct a separate feature for female, since the two genders are mutually exclusive. Knowing one or the other is enough. Since it is mutually exclusive, means only one thing at a time should be happened. So it can be either male or it can be female. A n-categorical nominal feature can be dummy coded by creating binary indicator variables for n-1 levels of the feature. If the nominal variable can take n number of values, it can be considered by n-1 levels. For example, the dummy coding of a 3-category temperature variable can be treated like this: hot, medium, cold. Hot, medium, cold could be set up as 3 minus 1, which is equal to 2 features. Hot is equal to, so that means this temperature variable should be split up to two features like hot and medium. Hot is equal to 1 means hot is equal to 1 means the original data value is hot, and 0 otherwise. 0 otherwise means it can take the temperature can be medium or cold. Then another feature is included, medium, which is equal to 1 and 0. If x is equal to medium is equal to 1 if x is equal to medium. If the original value is medium, then we put 1 for medium column. Otherwise, we put 0. If hot equal to 0 and medium equal to 0, then we can say that the temperature is cold. If hot is equal to 1 and medium equal to 0, then we say that it is hot. If hot equal to 0 and medium equal to 1, then we can say that the temperature is medium. Likewise. So in dummy coding, what we have to consider is the nominal data. Euclidean distance cannot be applied for this nominal data. Therefore, to calculate the distance between nominal features, we have to convert it in the form of numbers. For example, the dummy coding of two valued feature gender is treated as male is treated as value 1, and female should be represented by 0, so that gender can be numerically represented 0 for females and 1 for males. That is, since these genders are mutually exclusive. If we are having a 3-valued feature, for example, we already seen the temperature with 3 values like hot, medium and cold. We have to split this temperature feature to 2 other features like hot and medium. And for hot, it should be represented 1 if the original value of x is hot and 0 otherwise. If hot is 0, then medium can be represented by 1 or 0. 1 means x is the actual temperature is medium, and 0 means it is cold. So if hot is equal to 0 and medium is equal to 0 represents the cold temperature. If values of two features hot and medium are 0, the temperature is cold. Therefore, third indicator is not needed in case of a tertiary feature or three varied feature. Some advantages of dummy coding is the distance between the features is always 1 or 0. Thus, min-max values are on the same scale in a normalized form. So, no additional information or transformation is needed in case of dummy coding. Now we will see why this KNN algorithm is lazy. No abstraction occurs. Abstraction and generalization process are skipped altogether, and this undermines the definition of learning, and it is the process of making predictions tend to be relatively slow. So lazy learning is also known as instance-based learning or lot learning. So at the beginning of our lazy learning session, we discussed about how it is lazy. That is, they simply store the data. No abstraction and generalization happens in this. So that the testing phase is slow or prediction or classification stage is slow. This is also known as instance-based learning or rote learning. This method does not need a model. No parameters are learned about the data. So KNN do not build a model, and it is also termed as a non-parametric learning method. That is, no parameters are learned from the data. Without generating theories about the underlying data, the classifier is used for classifying new data. Hope you understood the basics of lazy learning and KNN algorithm. Thank you.